The Ambitious Africans podcast is building more than conversations. We're building a thinking community. If you're navigating a challenge, transition, or decision in your personal or professional journey, we invite you to share it with us using the link below. Selected reflections will be discussed in future episodes where other listeners will offer their perspective, insights, and lived experiences. This is not about having it all figured out. It's about learning out loud, hearing different viewpoints, and lightening the mental load by thinking together. Your submission can be anonymous, and the goal is perspective, not judgment. Go into the show notes below, fill out the form, and share your challenges, ideas, thoughts, and decision points with us, and we'll be more than happy to give you some directions. Dear ambitious African, this is your host, Secho. In this podcast, we'll discuss everything about our journeys and experiences towards achieving our goals for life and work as phenomenal change leaders in our varied communities. We'll feature other ambitious Africans crushing it through arts, social activism, tech innovations, entrepreneurship, and positive lifestyle and holistic well-being. We are the generation that is redefining Africa as we know it, and as an ambitious African, now is the time to get involved. Give us your feedback and ideas for our next podcast, and let's keep the conversations going. See you inside. Hello, welcome to the Ambitious Africans podcast. I feel like I'm whispering because it's quite late. Well, quite early. Literally recording this at what's the time? 3:11 a.m. and I meant to record this earlier. Well, technically later yesterday, but I just wasn't feeling it, and I don't want to come when my mood and energy is not great. Not to say I can, but I genuinely couldn't bring myself to doing it. So I said, oh, maybe I'm going to record some other time in the week or something. Then I got scared that, inconsistency might creep in if I don't push myself. And then I remembered the episode I recorded yesterday or 2 days ago about living in my enoughness. And I think for me it's just another reminder, like these things I tell you, the things I talk to you about on this podcast, they're really things that have been sitting in my brain and in my mind and thought processes for the longest times, and they are things I'm really engaging in my life and interacting with in my own life. And so when I come on here saying these things, they're not from books I've read or blogs I've read and content I've watched online, which, I mean, some of them might trigger thoughts and different things. That's one of the things I love about the gift God has given me with my mind, to be able to sit with things and try to process it for as long as I can. However, I do not lean on it's the word regurgitating something I've already watched. If I'm sharing something, it's deeply something I really wish was known, but it's not. So this is my own contribution to making it known. Yeah, so that is a bit of context. I hope you had an amazing day. I have had a good day. I had a good day yesterday. I know I'm going to have a good day later on today, because a few things happened. I met up with my mentor. We spoke a bit. I met with her husband as well, who was super, like, he literally blew my mind with the things he told me, you know, advising me, giving me ideas and things to think about. And I was really, really grateful to have such people in my life. To be honest, I am grateful to have such wise people around me, and I will cherish every learning opportunity I get. And so having this was really nice. Yeah, from there I had a nice day. Ate, came to watch a movie or two on YouTube, and yeah, I went on with my day. That was pretty much how my day looked like. Quite chill, quite okay. I think you're gonna get tired of me talking about having chill days, but today I want to talk to you about something about money. We've talked about money on this podcast before. One thing about this podcast is I really want it to be a no holds barred area. Like, we talk about anything and everything, even like very deep things that it's quite difficult to talk about. I want to attempt to have those kind of conversations with you and have that in a non-judgmental, very objective way. I feel like the world has really misconstrued and redefined a lot of regular things that we knew back in the day, but it's always helpful to have those conversations to realign ourselves on what really things mean before we move forward. In any case, I wanted to talk to you a bit about money today. Yesterday, I forgot to mention that I also did a small stop at the supermarket to buy a few things. I'm currently shopping for this is funny. I'm currently shopping for new cleaning agents for my room. And so I went into the supermarket looking and checking, because I really do not want to have like toxic cleaning agents. When I say cleaning agents, I mean like dishwasher soap and bleaches and things like that. So I was just, and I remembered something that I learned in business school that I said I need to come share this with you. Like, I was thinking about you. As I thought about it, I was like, I need to come share this with my podcast community. And this is a concept. I might butcher it in terms of having a nice ring to its description, but it is shopping like a recruiter, or shopping with a job in mind. Yeah, makes no sense, but let me explain. So as I'm walking through the supermarket, I'm going through all the aisles and different things they have, and it's not advisable to do that, really. Like, if you're going to buy something and you already know what you want to buy, go straight to where you know you're going to find it and then buy. But one thing about me, I'm not an impulse buyer, and so I'm pretty okay with like just looking around and strolling around to see if I can get reminded of something I thought to myself I need to get that I might have forgotten. And so I'm walking around, I'm seeing all these things, and I'm thinking about all the different use cases I have in mind for the cleaning needs I have. And I'm running like a thought experiment to say, can I achieve the same effect or the same results with different solutions other than getting an actual cleaning agent? And that brought to mind something I said I learned in business school about shopping with a job in mind. There's this idea that was propounded by I believe he was a Stanford University professor. Give me a second, let me look into it. Okay, I found it. So the professor was a Harvard professor. He's late now, and he popularized the jobs to be done theory. His name is Clayton Christensen. I'm going to read what ChatGPT says, really. It says, Christensen popularized the jobs to be done theory, which says that consumers don't just buy products or services, they hire them to do a job in their lives. In other words, people make purchasing decisions based on the job they want to accomplish, not just features or price. So if someone chooses a product or a service, it's because it helps them complete something important. That is the job in a particular situation. So that's the core idea behind the jobs to be done framework. And you can do a bit of research into this theory, but the essence is what I have pretty much read. But the idea is, when you discover a need in your life that you feel buying something would solve, let's say a phone, you're essentially saying there's a job to be done. The job to be done is, let's say, for example, you want to stay in contact with your family. Now, there's so many ways you can have that job done or get that job done. In other words, there's so many types of talents you could hire to get that job done. So if, let's say, the solution was a person, if we are humanizing them, it's like there's so many people you could speak to help you figure out how to remain in contact with your family. And so some of these people you could speak to, or some of these solution or options could be, let's say, writing a letter, sending a message to another person. That's another way you can do it. You could also visit your family every weekend or every day. You could also get a billboard and put your message there, so wherever they're driving through, they can see your message. Or you could also send letters by sea or like, I'm trying to find all the different scenarios we could help you remain, like, keep in contact, because the job to be done is keep in contact with family. And so when you're considering all the ways that you can get this job done, the phone is just one of the ways you can do it. If you can get it done in another way, chances are you're going to explore those options as well. And that was what I was thinking about as I was walking through this supermarket. I was like, I have a job to be done. I have this job. I need to hire a solution out there to do for me. Now I wonder which of these other non-related, totally out of category solutions that I'm seeing on these aisles could also possibly give me a possible solution, or could possibly be the solution to get the job done without actually getting the cleaning agent, because the cleaning agent, in essence, is something I'm putting back into its place as one of the ways I can get this job done, and not the only way to get this job done. And that is my tip to you today. I think that for most people who do not work in marketing, or who are not like business oriented, but obviously that's not in a demeaning way, like they're oriented in their own different ways, but people who do not necessarily work in the business ecosystem, especially in marketing, one of the things that they don't realize, and sometimes even marketers, some of the things we don't even realize, is that our job is to create demand for the specific solution and pose it as if it's the only solution to your customer's need or want. And a job well done is to have your customer associate your product or service to that job they need done at first thought. And so when people start to think, oh, I have a cleaning problem, so I need a cleaning agent, that is a perfect example of a marketing problem, of a marketer's job well done. Not a marketing problem, it's a marketer's job well done, because you could have thought of other things to frame the job you had. So let's say you think it's a cleaning problem, maybe it's just an organizational problem. Maybe you should organize yourself well so you don't make a lot of mess around your house. Maybe it's, let's say, sweeping. You should be sweeping and not even be thinking about cleaning agent. Like, there's so many things you could do to have that cleaning job done, but because we've been conditioned, and that has been a marketer's job, series and generations of marketers, if you ask me, their job to make sure that once you have this kind of problem, you're thinking this solution, because that's literally like how the first search on your Google response to your question works. the first one that comes is most likely the one you're going to click at. And so if you want to unpack that or disentangle yourself from that thought processes, then this is one of the thought experiments you can have. The next time you enter a supermarket with a list of things you want to buy, ask yourself, what jobs am I trying to get done with these things I have on my list? And can I get it done by any other solution? I'll give you an example. There was an original video I watched by the Harvard professor Clayton Christensen, and he was talking about this theory where he talked about he did this project for McDonald's, and they were thinking about food, right? And it's so interesting. You need to go watch it on YouTube. It talks about how in his own personal life, in the morning when he's at work, he gets hungry, and when he gets hungry, that is a job to be done. He needs to refuel for the rest of the day. He doesn't want to have the feeling of hunger, right? And so that is his job to be done, and he has tried to solve it in many ways. He's tried to solve it with burgers. I don't know. I don't think he mentioned burgers. You might have to check again. Pardon my mistakes, yes, in the details, but just bear with me for the sake of this. So he says he tried a bagel or a burger. It didn't solve the problem well because it made him grumpy in the day, and by midday he was sleepy. One time he tried tea or a beverage. That too didn't help. He was very super active in the morning, and later in the day he felt his energy just waning down, and it was becoming addictive. And he tried a milkshake, and he realized, the milkshake solved the problem. It eased his boredom on his drive to work. It was something to look up to as he's driving, because he would make a stop at the McDonald's they say shop outlet, whatever it is, and he would buy it, and that would put him in a good mood even before he eventually got to the work. And it's something that he kept sipping for a long time. So by the time lunch comes, he's had like a stable fix of something in his tummy, so much that he doesn't feel a crash when it's lunchtime. So by lunchtime, he's actually ready to have proper food. So it's something that kept him pretty much in an okay place for the most part of the morning. So the job to be done was this hunger and a need to not be hungry or not feel hungry. But there's so many people you could hire, in this case so many solutions you could hire to solve it. And so in his case, these are the examples. So I am bringing that to you as a money tip today, as you're beginning your day, or whenever you're listening to this. Think about what jobs need to be done, and think about what other ways you could solve them, and possibly smarter, more affordable ways to get it done, and see if that can improve your financial status in any small way. That is it for today. I am very, very grateful you spent this time with me, as chaotic and as whispery as it was. Have an amazing day ahead, and whatever time it is you're listening to this at, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.